This first match of the Laver Cup 2019. It's a nice way to start.
15 love.
Tactically, how do you feel Shapovalov's going to approach this one through?
Oh, I think he's got to take the ball by the scruff, as it were. I think he's got to play very aggressively. I think he's more suited to tennis indoors than Thiem is.
It will be interesting to see just how Dominic Thiem is feeling confidence-wise. I mentioned that shock loss in the Davis Cup. The Davis Cup that Austria still were able to win. Denis Novak rescuing the day, winning the fifth rubber 7-6 in the third, but that was after Dominic Thiem had lost to player ranked 163 in the world. And actually brought an end to a 9 straight singles wins in a row in Davis Cup tennis for Dominic Thiem. So it shows that he is pretty comfortable in team tennis, to excuse the pun. There is that lefty slider that I'm sure we're going to see time and time again from Shapovalov.
14-15.
Another left-hander in picture, of course. JP McEnroe.
He's actually said he's feeling the pressure coming into this one, having lost the last 2. But an ideal start for Shapovalov. Serving well, little nod of appreciation from Captain McEnroe. First game goes to Shapovalov. Incidentally, if this does go to a third set, it will be a 10-point tiebreak that is played. It's a slightly different scoring system at the Laver Cup.
Yes, and I think we saw in that opening game just the well, some of the weaponry that Shapovalov has, and he's got to look to play some of his ground strokes similarly. Just take the ball a little earlier, try and rush Thiem, who, as I was suggesting, is not at his best indoors. This year's French finalist, of course, losing to Nadal in the final.
Team Europe to serve.
It's all about tactic from Thiem to approach to the backhand side.
15 love.
Yes, we talk about the pressure that players might have. Well, how about looking at these and knowing you're playing for a team that consists of Nadal and Federer? It's enough to make you wobble.
A team, I would imagine, having beaten Federer a couple of times this year, including in that final in Indian Wells. And also beating Nadal, of course, this year too, as in he'll feel like he belongs. On that notion, for you, is Thiem the closest to the big three?
Well, I think so. I mean, he lost in straight sets to Nadal last year, took a set this year, so the chances are that it'll be 2 sets next year and maybe a victory the year thereafter. I've always considered him really a terrific player and a nice personality as well. There's a humility about him.
He's a mild-mannered Austrian. Big fan of football, big fan of Chelsea. That's a solid service game here to make it 1-1 first set.
So the blue colour suits him, Nadal.
Yeah, I think he'd probably be pretty happy that he's playing in the blue.
We got Chapo.
This is the other fascinating thing, isn't it, with the Laver Cup? You get the team on the side, and they are lit up so all the fans can see them, how they interact during the matches. Of course, this is the first match of the day. Following this one, we will have Fabio Fognini against Jack Sock, and then a doubles matchup where it will be Zverev and Federer against Sock and Shapovalov. So a busy day for the Canadian.
Well, this is obviously something we will already have noticed, the very fact that in going for his shots, quite to the extent that he is Shapovalov, he's just missing a few too many. It's going to be the key. He's got to go for them, but he's got to give himself just a little bit more margin.
Smart serve again, using that lefty slider. And interestingly enough, actually, Dominic Thiem said recently, all of about a week ago, he said he actually likes playing left-handed players, which is quite unusual for a right-hander. He did have an exception to that, though. He said, other than Verdasco and Nadal, but he likes playing lefties otherwise. Might be wanting to take those comments back after this match, though. Who knows? In a couple of hours' time.
Yes, and that's perhaps one of the reasons he enjoys his backhand and is able to take the ball reasonably early on that backhand side. Left-handers, of course, tend to concentrate on that swinging serve to the right-hander's backhand.
Now the first couple of break points of the Laver Cup.
Let's first.
First couple of break points and first challenge from Shapovalov. Not a correct one, so a lot of pressure on this second serve now for the Canadian. Got the feeling that Thiem was just waiting for the error, and it came again. And it is first blood to Europe as Dominic Thiem breaks first in this opening set to lead by 2-1. Well, welcome back. Dominic Thiem up an early break, just a few too many unforced errors from Denis Shapovalov, and well, team captain John McEnroe telling him what he thought, saying you've got to be more disciplined, maybe use some shorter angles. Oh, it's inside the baseline. That's wonderful tennis from Thiem, although the apology suggests it wasn't perhaps all strings.
15 love.
Yes, full of apologies. I thought he would actually be playing the forehand down the line, but I think he actually meant to hit the lob. Yeah, it's interesting that John McEnroe, the coach, was really saying that Shapovalov shouldn't go for his shots quite as early in the point as he is, as a result of making the mistakes, of course. Build the point a bit more securely.
Interesting how direct he was with regards to the feedback, but I suppose John McEnroe can be that direct. Because Shapovalov, he's the type of player or type of person you're going to listen to. No sugarcoating it for the Canadian.
$15 all.
Lives in America, does Rod Laver, has for many years. Married an American who died a few years ago.
Just here there, good return, Shapo. Thiem on the back foot.
Yes, giving Thiem a bit of his own medicine there, taking the ball very early on the backhand. Well, I've always thought that Thiem's serve is actually better than he himself believes it is. He's got a terrific kick serve and does use the slice a lot more these days as well, which of course comes in handy on the right court to the left-hander.
Oh, he's made that one. That was exactly the serve you were talking about.
40-30.
Yes, perhaps not getting quite the width he would have liked. Shapovalov not dealing with it badly, but it has opened up the court for the forehand down the line.
Well, was able to recover from 15-30 down in the game, Thiem, and does indeed back up the break. Bjorn Borg doesn't tend to show that much emotion, but the applause suggesting that he's pretty happy with how things are going so far in this opening set.
11 majors, of course, for Borg, 6 French and 5 Wimbledons. Never quite made it at the US, and I don't know that he ever played the Australian. Many players in those days didn't.
Love 15.
It's been a bit of a scrappy start, in truth, from Shapovalov. I mentioned the fact that he's found a bit more form of late. He really struggled after reaching the semi-finals of the Miami Masters, where he actually failed to win back-to-back matches for pretty much 5 months.
Yes, surprising really that he lost first round at Wimbledon to Ricardo Berankis.
I was fortunate enough to commentate on that match, and again, it was one of these matches that I've been commentating on a lot with Denis Shapovalov, where it was just sort of one game style. There was no plan B. That's something that there's been a lot of talk about in terms of he is this great ball striker, shot maker, but sometimes in terms of building the point, he can struggle. Picking the right ball to go for those shots on.
Borg appreciating the fact that this might be an opportunity for a double break. Just keep the pressure going.
Let second serve.
And again, the unforced error tally piling up on Denis Shapovalov right now.
Yes, there might have been a chance to get in. I think McEnroe certainly would have when he had Shapovalov had Thiem on the stretch.
Well, one of the bits of tactics that McEnroe did say is perhaps use the shorter angles and then get in. That was what Shapovalov was going for there. And his serve is way out of trouble. That's one break point saved with a third ace.
30-40.
So will this be a case of Thiem really looking for the serve out wide? May just be a good time to pop one down the middle.
Read it like a book through.
Deuce.
Well, it's such a good weapon to have. You've got that flat serve. You naturally have the one that imparts slice. But if you can hit the flat one down the middle, keeps the opponent guessing.
Advantage, team one.
It's the types of games that are momentum shifters. Shapovalov can win his first game in 4. Yeah, did well. And is able to find a way out of the game. Easily could have been a double breakdown there, but 4 points in a row for Shapovalov means that he keeps it to just the 1 break in this opening set. Team leading 3-2. Well, still lots of information being given to Denis Shapovalov by John McEnroe. Only 5 games played. Yet to find a formula that works against Dominic Thiem, who's up 3-2 in this opening set.
It used to be a newspaper that, of course, was black and white and seen all over the world, but now I think they can refer to the Laver Cup as what is black and white and seen all over the world.
Do you like it?
Yes, I think it shows the ball up nicely. And it's also my old school colours, so I'm sort of feeling really at home.
Oh, really? There we go. But I think, yeah, not only does it show up the ball, I think it shows up the 2 team colours, doesn't it, really well as well.
Yes, we've mentioned Thiem's backhand, but of course it is his forehand that will produce most of the winners. Oh, he's got the fat one down the middle as well. Anything you can do?
40 love.
Oh, super return. Right to the toes of Dominic Thiem.
40-15.
His nemesis at the French thus far.
Secures another service game though, does Dominic Thiem. Imagine the fact that Nadal is the player that he doesn't like facing along with Verdasco. Never beaten Verdasco, in fact, in terms of the left-handers. Has beaten Nadal though 4 times before, including this year in Barcelona. But as you say, those Grand Slam finals, or major finals, as you were saying earlier, I need to get it right. At the French Open, Nadal has got the better of him. Did so well to keep that slice backhand so low.
Love 15.
Got away with it. Overheads can sometimes be tricky indoors, and it wasn't the cleanest from Shapovalov.
50.
Smiles all round, their team's ahead. It could have been even a bit further ahead, of course, if they'd got the second break. Surprising, really, missed by Thiem. He had a lot of time. Got that habit of tossing the ball between his legs prior to serving that Federer used to have, that Isner still does.
Oh, just pulled it.
31.
Jordan Thompson, a little shake of the head from him. He's the alternate for the world team. Double fault. Another chance for the break for Dominic Thiem.
Well, no double fault's a good one, but that was particularly poor. He was nowhere near the top of the net. A lot of pressure on him now.
It's a good body serve.
Yes, whether a team was expecting a bit more of a kicker and was therefore prepared, more prepared to play the forehand off a high bouncing serve.
Not hiding his emotions there, Nadal. It's interesting as well with Thiem, particularly off the second serve return. He can vary his position. He either stays well back for it or goes very tight to the baseline. Probably regretted going tight on that occasion. Oh dear, another unforced error. It is all a little scrappy right now for the Canadian. Don't quite know what's going to come from his racket in every shot he's playing.
Patrick McEnroe in picture. Grimacing. Well, again, the serve directed at the body, proving profitable, really. Thiem not able to get the length on the return of serve.
The chance there, Thiem. It's a little strange. He stayed with the chopper grip to play that bunt of a forehand.
Yes, it wasn't as if he were short of time either. He had time really to adjust the grip and ram it down the line.
I talked about it being a little scrappy from Denis Shapovalov, but he is able to scrap through that game. Well, he's clinging on a little in this opening set, but still just the one break. Team leading 4-3. Absolutely packed house at the Palexpo in Geneva. So far so good as far as the Europeans are concerned. Team up a break. Easily could have been up more than just the one break. The help of new balls here.
59.
Talked about the fact that Shapovalov's a shot maker,
39.
and the fact sometimes he doesn't really have a plan B. What are your thoughts going forward for him? Because, you know, he's someone who takes big cuts at the ball. He kind of clearly thinks that that way of playing will lead to him being a top player. As in, do you feel he needs to adapt his game more? Does he need to adapt to different opponents? Or is he going about it the right way by saying, this is my game plan and other players have got to deal with it?
Well, I think he's certainly right in suggesting that aggression is his style of play. And I think it reflects his mood as well, although, of course, that's difficult to judge. But there's no doubt there are just some balls that you can't hit, and you've got to be defensive. And you've got to ensure that when you are defensive, you're getting good depth. Usually it's good depth on your shot to prevent the opponent from taking very quick advantage.
Oh, wow. That's what I mean by able to take cuts at the ball.
Yes, it seemed most unlikely, didn't it? Really got up high on him, outside of the line. But it's shots like this, of course, that keeps him going for his shots. The thrill of making one like that. Problem is, you've got to make them at the right time. Get the thumbs up at the right time.
So, I mean, it kind of feels like he sort of just hones in on trying to perfect that sort of a shot. And he hasn't, as I say, adapted his game, but maybe his mindset is he keeps going for them, and he's going to make more and more throughout his career as Thiem hits a second serve ace, or does he? As Shapovalov will challenge here.
Certainly more out than in, but did it just get a bit of the line?
It did indeed. So that secures the game. Thiem a game away from taking this opening set now at 5-3. But yeah, I suppose my question really was, what's more important, having your own game identity or having adaptability? And I suppose your answer will probably be a bit of both.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, just thinking of Laver's game, there were many times against rough players that he had to be defensive. It wasn't a case of hitting every ball for a winner.
And it just feels with Shapovalov, the game identity is established, but the adaptability against opponents hasn't really been done enough, particularly in the last 12 months or so. But maybe that's what Eugenie is going to add to his game, and that's where maybe having John McEnroe at the side of the court will help him this week.
It's an amazing marriage, isn't it? Eugenie of Russia suddenly. I know Shapovalov's got that in his background, but a Canadian virtually through and through.
It's a fascinating background, isn't it? Born in Tel Aviv. And Israel Shapovalov, lived there for long. Another Canadian watching, of course, Milos Raonic, part of the Team World Group. Hughes in the R's, a fine return from Thiem.
14-15.
Keeps himself alive for now in this opening set, Denis Shapovalov. A far better service game from the Canadian. Thiem leading though, 5-4. Dominic Thiem serving for the first set here. Gets off to the ideal start with what is a fourth ace.
Well, the camera caught him earlier fondling the ball prior to the serve. And it's listening to him.
I just wondered about the pressure going into this game, because he's been the one who's had the opportunities to go up a double break, but not feeling that pressure, Dominic Thiem. 3-set points. That's a very steady first set from Dominic Thiem. Just the one break needed. And it's advantage Europe in this first matchup. Thiem takes the first set, 6-4. So first game of the second set here. Shapovalov winning the first point. What would you like Shapovalov to do differently here through in this second set?
Well, he won the first point with a terrific forehand winner, and really he needs quite a few more of those, not enough of them in the first set. Again, it's a case of really building the point, keeping good depth. You can play short too, but providing you get the angle, as Coach McEnroe has been suggesting. But the forehand has got to be the major weapon.
Needs to cut those out as well. Double fault. He's been in this situation time and time again. Shapovalov 15-30 down once again. It's a smart serve. Clearly seeing that Thiem had decided on that occasion to stay further back, so using the tight angle.
Well, the blue shoes are a bit of a contradiction, aren't they? They should be red as well. Half of him is in the blue team.
Are you suggesting that's how he played the first set?
I didn't hear it.
Could well be.
It's normally good.
John McEnroe not happy the fact that the net cord went off there. Felt that it didn't hit the net. It's of course a long-running debate on the ATP Tour. Whether or not that should be taken away as a rule. And that's a confident point from Shapovalov.
14-13.
Yes, this is one out of the McEnroe book, really. Good bit of serve volleying and an aggressive volley.
As he found the centre service line there. No challenge from Thiem. So again, Shapovalov made to work to hold serve at 15-30 down. But again, the Canadian comes through the game. Encouragement, of course, from his more senior Canadian teammate. Just a reminder, still to come. We've got Fabio Fognini against Jack Sock in the second singles match today. And then in the evening session, we'll have the doubles. Zverev and Federer taking on Sock and Shapovalov. Team who's only played one match before in the Laver Cup. That was back in 2017. He beat John Isner 10 points to 7 in the deciding set tiebreaker. Match tiebreak that it is. Shapovalov has also only played one match back in 2017. Lost in straight sets to Sasha Zverev 7-6, 7-6.
Definitely quite a bit more venom in the team game.
Just didn't get Get around the ball enough there, team. Slightly late on the forehand. Shapovalov trying to get himself going here.
Yes, and noticeable Shapovalov hitting a big backhand, but giving himself a big margin. Middle of the court it was played to. He wasn't going for the line there, and yet he's won the point.
Needed 2 bites of the cherry, but gets it done.
It's very much going the Canadian or the world group's way. They're able to bring that big forehand into play. It sets up really a couple of comfortable overheads.
A good measured point from Thiem.
Yes, one of the longer points of the match. Shapovalov suggesting that he slipped as he went to play that shot.
Well, I said he was into football. He's got a fair amount of decent touch with his feet. That's the Austrian. That's great reach from Shapovalov.
Yes, one of the best points of the match. It had a little bit of extra in it, with a terrific bit of slicing. Thiem obviously would have liked to have played his backhand cross-court a little lower than that.
Oh, well, it was an extraordinary return from Shapovalov. If he meant it, that was quite amazing, but still ends up losing the point.
Yes, a terrific get because he was on the back foot was Thiem, but should undoubtedly have lost the point. A bit of a gimme of a forehand down the line. Kyrgios was convinced they had to win the point.
Would have been his first break point had they won that point, Team World. This time it's Thiem's turn to battle through a tight game. He was under more pressure in that game from Shapovalov. A look of relief from the Austrian as it's 1-1 second set. Just hear the chatter, can't you, from the world team group. I don't think Nick Kyrgios finds it easy to sit still and be quiet.
Well, I suppose he reckoned he played one good one with the return of serve. Why not try another? But he wasn't close to making it. Certainly an unforced error.
Great slider.
50.
Beautifully done.
Asking the crowd for even louder applause, Shapovalov, and it certainly deserved at the point.
30-15.
Team showing what a slice backhand can do for him with a very slow one, but it landed deep. And this, one of the finest volleys we've seen.
Just feel he's getting a little more comfortable with the environment that he's in right now, Denis Shapovalov. He's certainly raised his level in the last 15-20 minutes or so. That's another excellent point. Once again from the Canadian. For the first time in the match, it's the world number 33 who has a bit of the momentum. Leads 2-1 second set. Still a lot of information being given from John McEnroe to Denis Shapovalov. As you can see, Dominic Thiem not overly happy the last sit down. Speaking to Bjorn Borg. He hasn't had to say a lot until now. Oh, it's a scintillating backhand from Shapovalov.
Yes, this could spell a little bit of danger for Thiem. Very Laver-esque here.
Talk about him having a bit of momentum for the first time. It's a bit of momentum. Can it turn into a lot of momentum? Kyrgios and co hoping so. It looked long to me. It looked long to Shapovalov as well. It was initially called out overall from John Blom in the chair. It wasn't the best of overalls. Gutsy second serve from Thiem.
Wow, that's one of the best second serves I think I've ever seen Thiem hit.
Especially at love 30 down.
It shows the advantage of slice on the second serve. Not a fair amount of power, but the control it can give you.
Oh dear, it just dropped on him. And the team just tried to be a little too cute.
Yes, a very fine shot by the Canadian. It looked as if this was a formality really for Thiem, but you can see where he played it, just below the level of the tape.
It's taken all of 55 minutes, but Denis Shapovalov finally has a break point. And it's a break point that he's able to convert. Shapovalov goes 3-1 up in this second set.
He's certainly on the right track, of course. I think made it a little bit more comfortable, a little easier for him due to the fact that he's serving first and at times serving pretty well. So the pressure very much on Thiem, trying for a little too much on the backhand there.
Rocking of a serve, but has it caught the service line? 223 k's an hour. It's clearly left a mark. Has the mark caught the service line? No, it hasn't.
Center.
Wow. And again, I talk about gutsy tennis from Shapovalov. Perhaps wasn't the percentage play, but beautifully executed.
Yes, just keeping the wrist firm enough to control the racket head well, impart the slice. Thiem obviously expecting another big forehand.
Kind of knew Nick Kyrgios would have liked that shot. He's got his mojo back, there's no doubt about that, Denis Shapovalov right now.
30-15.
Find out who the aggressor is in this encounter. Suddenly he can do no wrong, Shapovalov. This is exquisite tennis.
Yes, the volley was not an easier one in the end, because you can see it was fairly low as he played it. A little similar to the one Thiem missed.
That's a ripper this time from Thiem.
Yes, he's able to get that right leg across, anchored himself so well.
A little short slice return was actually something that Roger Federer employed against Shapovalov in the semi-finals in Miami. And it worked a treat. So I just wonder whether he would have given that information to Thiem.
Right here, Dennis, come on.
Well, he had quite a bit of time to think about that. Thiem was a long way back when he played his return.
All the momentum has been with Shapovalov over the last 10 minutes. The team has just raised his game in this game. It's a sumptuous lob as Thiem breaks straight back. And this match has suddenly come alive. Shapovalov still leading second set though by 3 games to 2. Well, the crowd really getting involved and into this one. It's been simmering along, and it's come to life in the last 20 minutes or so. So Shapovalov raising his game, and then in turn Thiem raising his. Fascinating second set. Austrian serving 2-3.
Yes, a couple of very unexpected turns. You just wonder what's going to ensue. Well, he's got the serving power really to equal matters here. Inevitably that greater power on the forehand that most players will have. Just that longer swing, and he was able to flatten it there.
Interesting seeing in the background quite often Rafael Nadal up and down like a yo-yo. Of course, he can do that today because he's not in action on day one, so he can use as much energy as he likes on the sideline. He backs up the break again. An excellent service hold from the world number 5 to make it 3-all second set. And of course, as everyone knows, Rafael Nadal has plenty of energy in everything that he does.
Yeah, slightly lower ball toss there by Thiem on that last serve.
Since 2017, they've been very invested emotionally in the Laver Cup. Federer and Nadal. New balls here for Shapovalov. They're either good actors or they really buy into this competition.
I think they seem to.
It's a super jump backhand from Shapovalov, playing with a bit of swagger now.
30 love.
Yes, I'm sure a camera would have got that somehow.
Not a shot you ever played through?
I don't think so, no. More pensive mood from a fellow left-hander. Kind of showboating there, I think. Maybe you can get away with it at 40 love.
Go, Dennis.
Oh, can't get to that one. Just doing enough with the final volley, Shapovalov. Wry smile on the face of McEnroe. First game in 3 for the Canadian. He's back in front in his second set. Intriguing second set. 1 break apiece. Pressure back on the Austrians' shoulders at 3-4.
15.
Really got to make the inroads. Percentage of points won behind first serves indoors tend to be very high, particularly with players serving at this sort of speed. So when second serves are struck, you've got to win them.
Mr. Thiem, Team Europe is judging the call on the right service line. The ball is called forwards.
Challenge here from Thiem. It's not a successful one. So will Shapovalov be as aggressive as he was on the previous second serve return? That's fine play. It was a far more conservative return, but he built the point brilliantly.
30. Team Europe have 2 challenges remaining.
Well, Thiem gave him the opening, but it's a matter of taking them. Thiem, by playing the forehand from the backhand side, left too much open court.
Well, he nearly got in a muddle there, Dominic Thiem. And hence the reaction from Denis Shapovalov. He knows he had the chance to steal that point.
40.
Yes, I don't know whether it's the blacksmith anymore, what it is about Shapovalov, but he's been hammering his feet so often. Was it another slip or what was it?
I think it was just the fact that he had the chance there. The Thiem not quite doing enough with the slice backhand, and he was annoyed with himself to not test Thiem out at the net enough. Thiem has been very clinical at the net, 8 from 9. He's won. That's a scintillating forehand this time from Thiem, and it's 4-all second set. There is Stefanos Tsitsipas, just training, warming up for his match in the evening session against Taylor Fritz. Fritz, who's been playing some very good tennis of late. Tsitsipas, another Team Europe player who's a little bit out of form, despite having a very good year, at least first half of the year. Whether we'll see the drop shot again from Shapovalov. A couple of times now, Thiem looked a little uncomfortable. Got there.
A little bit more patience there from the Canadian.
He's number 8 for Shapovalov. A rare love service hold. Game away then from levelling his first rubber up. Shapovalov leads 5-4 for 18,000 all-seater stadium in Geneva. They've been transfixed by this opening rubber of the Laver Cup. Team serving to stay in the second set here, 4-5. He's just done it on the right occasions, hasn't he, Fru, in terms of when he has come to the net team.
Yeah, it's predominantly serving out wide on both courts. Inevitable that it should be on the backhand, but slight opportunity there for Shapovalov. He got his timing right to hit it down the line and in. First point in the game, so important.
Is this one going to be challenged?
Team Europe is chosen to call left baseline. Ball's gone out.
I think it was worth the challenge, particularly this late in the set. Also heard the groans from the crowd, so they clearly thought it might have caught the line, which it did.
Replay points. First serve.
Wow, and that's a stunner of a forehand from Thiem.
Yes, I can hear people just murmuring, how on earth can he do this? Shapovalov wasn't too far from it, on the wrong foot, but it was a real stunner.
Love service off for Thiem. Precious bit of momentum perhaps for the Austrian as we see Shapovalov shake his head. I do feel if anyone's got a bit of momentum right now, it is the Austrian.
Yes, again, this is where the first point is so important. Particularly the left-hander serving to the right court.
Yeah, that was better play from Thiem. He struggled with that short ball today, and no trouble there.
Yeah, it's coming down on it with a bit of slice rather than looking to hit through the ball. He's sort of blocking it. It's always dangerous to go cross court, but he does it sufficiently well here to make it difficult for the Canadian.
shame. But again, this is where we talk about adapting to opponents and adapting to match situations, and you can see Thiem, knowing that Shapovalov has coughed up some unforced errors, blocking that return, something that perhaps we wouldn't see from Shapovalov. Wanting to just try and ask the question of Shapovalov, although on that occasion he did have the answer.
I think the full Thiem there. Thiem expected the drop shot. I think most people did.
Well, that's nicely controlled.
Yeah, sometimes indoors when you look up you see a lot of lights, but obviously had very good vision here, did Shapovalov.
It's an excellent response from Shapovalov. He lost 5 points in a row and left 15 down there. But ensures that he's a game away again. 6-5. So for the second time in this set, Thiem coming out to serve to stay in it. 5-6. Just a reminder, if Shapovalov was to steal this game, it would be a 10-point shootout to decide this first point of the Laver Cup. Day one, of course, of the Laver Cup. All of these matches today, 4 matches in total, are worth just the 1 point. Day 2, they're worth 2. And day 3, they're worth 3. This is an ideal start for Shapovalov in this game.
Well, he gave it his undivided attention.
Clearly felt good to Thiem. Looked like it was going wide the whole way. And then cut down and in the last second. Thought it was good down the tee, but whether or not it was good lengthwise. Maybe it did miss down the tee. It did. I need to get my eyesight checked. It's a super return. And the forehand finds the line as well. And all of a sudden, it's 3 set points for Denis Shapovalov.
40. Team Europe have 1 challenge remaining.
Oh, it's overruled. Both Shapovalov and John Blom think this one is long. Shapovalov pretty certain. Obviously worth the challenge for Dominic Thiem. May as well at set point down. And it is just long. And Team World fight back. Denis Shapovalov taking the second set by 7 games to 5. And it will be a 10-point match tiebreak to decide this opening rubber.
The final set will be played as a 10-point match tiebreak.
looks as if Shapovalov's going to have a little break off court. Certainly many more smiles than the red team and the world team, rest of the world team, understandably. And I think so much of it started with terrific serving as he started serving at the beginning of the second set.
What do you make taking a bathroom break? I mean, because the momentum's with the Canadian, so you're a little surprised that he's the one that's going off the court here?
Well, I guess if he has to, there's no more uncomfortable feeling than staying out there if you need to go. But you're right, it is nevertheless a little surprising.
Some of the highlights from set 2, which certainly provided more highlights than set 1. It felt a little flat, the opening set. Shapovalov didn't really get himself going. It took a while, was making a lot of unforced errors in the first set, but was able to find the court a lot more often in set 2. And even though we were saying coming into this, in terms of on paper, rankings-wise, the European strong favourites, when you look at the matchups today, you give Team World a chance to win each and every one of them.
Oh, absolutely. I think particularly because it's played indoors. Were it on clay, it would be a very different story. Fognini versus Sock, one would obviously go for Fognini on a clay court or outdoors even. Team Shapovalov again on clay. Somebody like Thiem with his pedigree on clay. But this is indoors. Indoor tennis tends to be always a little bit quicker, and there's no doubt that it is pretty fast here. So a little more suited really to Shapovalov and to Jack Sock.
You mentioned the fact of Fabio Fognini. There he is warming up. That match will follow the one we're watching between Thiem and Shapovalov. As I say, there's then the evening session, which will be Tsitsipas against Fritz, followed by Federer and Zverev against Shapovalov and Sock in the doubles. You just feel his first rubber is of real significance, just because of what's happened before in the Laver Cup. Remember, Europe have won the last 2, so in particular for Team World, this would be significant in terms of just getting them a bit of early momentum if Shapovalov can steal the opening rubber.
Yes, and the point system, of course, designed so that nobody can actually win until the final day. So that if a team won every match in the first 2 days, there still is the potential for the team behind to garner enough points, 3 points each per match on the final day, to equal matters, in which case a final doubles would be played. Choice of doubles players is free to each team there. Otherwise, each player plays no more than 2 singles matches.
Of course, there's 4 matches per day. 3 singles, 1 doubles.
Yeah, so the maximum points that can be garnered today would be 4 points for the winning team.
Both teams, or both players, I should say, taking a bathroom break. So it will be a match tie break to settle this one. So Dominic Thiem took the first set 6-4. But it was Shapovalov who was able to take the second 7-5. So it's a 10-point shootout for the first point in the Laver Cup 2019. It's now a number of points in a row for Shapovalov. I make it 9. So it's going to be a test for Thiem. Just a reminder that had that shock loss in the Davis Cup in his last match, so confidence not as high as it has been throughout the majority of 2019. But that stops the run of points against him. First mini break then to Shapovalov.
Yeah, surprising choice of serve, I think, for Thiem. Beginning of the last service game on the right court, serving down the middle. Again here, serving down the middle. The stock serve really should be the one out wide to open up the court on the right court.
It's a big serve at a big time. Thiem is challenging. Will it be a 10th ace for Shapovalov?
Yes, and the Canadian doing the absolutely right thing by going out wide.
3-1, Team World.
Oh, it's brilliant defence from Thiem as he turns that defence into attack.
Shapovalov's challenged it, but I don't think it's going to get him anywhere. A clinical finish by the Austrian.
I just felt that Thiem needed something to spark him into life. Is that the point to do just that? Ball is in, as we thought. This time it's Team Europe who are on their feet.
Both teams have 2 challenges remaining.
Already you can cut the tension with a knife, can't you? Nail-biting stuff, even for Fognini, who's about to step out onto this court.
Pretty flexible for a 32-year-old, Fognini. I thought Thiem had got his expressions wrong. He was licking his lips and then he bit his lip. And perhaps Shapovalov shouldn't have let him get away with it.
Set the point up brilliantly.
4-3, Team Europe.
Could be a costly error.
Yes, it was certainly the shot to take advantage of, but again, he just didn't give himself any margin whatsoever. Needs to be aiming a foot inside those sidelines. Hits the ball hard enough.
It's 3 forehands in a row now that have been missed by Shapovalov. And having been up 3-1, now finds himself down 3-5.
Please.
You can hear the big shatter come on. Vital point for Shapovalov to win, just to stem the tide.
Yes, particularly on that right court, just that little bit more difficult for the left-hander.
So many momentum shifts at the back end of this encounter. How many more momentum shifts have we got? This European crowd trying to get behind Dominic Thiem. He just pulled another forehand here. Challenge straight away. Just wonder whether he's lost a bit of confidence through in that shot.
Yes, I wondered whether it might have been a slightly premature call on the linesman's part. Looked a pretty good shot, but did it land in?
No. He wasn't the most confident of calls. He was slightly delayed putting the arm out, the line judge.
6-4, Team Europe.
But yet another forehand error.
Team World have one challenge remaining.
It's a 10-pointer, remember. It's not a set point.
This time it's an unforced error from Thiem. Over the higher part of the net, didn't give the backhand enough height. Such an effective return from Thiem. And as they change ends, it is the Austrian who has the mini advantage. It was that sort of shot, as I said earlier, that Roger Federer used a lot against Shapovalov in Miami. And Shapovalov really did struggle to deal with it, as he did there.
Yes, he got the transfer of weight wrong. It was almost as if the body was moving to his right-hand side, whilst the left hand was just moving straight forward. There needed to be a little bit more commitment from the body to the shot. Fine bit of anticipation by Thiem on the return there.
Again, had the chance, and you have to say, it's been a bit of a scrappy tiebreaker, this one. We've seen a lot of unforced errors in it. Perhaps the tension of this first day of the Laver Cup and the importance of the first rubber getting to both players. Both teams living every moment. Just didn't seem to close in at the net there, Thiem. And makes a meal of the volley.
7-0.
Yeah, this is an awful error by Thiem. Really seemed very, very uncertain as to what to do.
Would you believe it? This time it's Shapovalov's turn to have the momentum. And all of a sudden it's the Canadian who's within touching distance of claiming the first rubber.
Thiem again choosing that serve down the middle. Unwisely.
It's a big backhand and a big time from Shapovalov. And it is 2 match points for the world team and Denis Shapovalov. Would you believe it? I mean, it is quite extraordinary, isn't it, for him? This is like watching almost both players playing in their first major final. The amount of tension out there.
Yes, just not knowing how to handle a lead. A home run in Canada, but it doesn't count here.
Still has a match point. This time it's gutsy from Thiem. And we go on in this first rubber. Saves a second match point as they change ends again.
Yes, I think this is as tight a game as we've had in the whole of the 3 Laver Cups that we've had. Well, the 2 and this one.
I love the emotion, though, don't you, in terms of what this sort of team tennis does, especially to an individual sport like tennis. Albeit one that, of course, as you know, Fru, has all the doubles. Most of these players so used to just playing on the singles court. So who's going to have the next match point?
Well, he's lost that serve just because he hasn't used it much.
Well, it's one of the points of the match. And what a time to bring out your best tennis from Dominic Thiem.
Been challenged, but not going to get anywhere, I don't think.
The ball was called out.
As I said earlier, he can use up all of his emotional energy today. Nadal is not involved on day one.
Just look at this jump of Thiem's. I think he'd have won an Olympic gold for high jump.
It was comfortably out, and having saved 2 match points, Dominic Thiem has one of his own. Who wants it?
Well, it creates all kinds of drama, but there's certainly a lot of inconsistency out there on the court.
Ten points apiece. All right, gold dust. Cheap point for Shapovalov. And it's the Canadians' turn to have a match point again.
Jack Sox will be wearing himself out playing in the next match.
He's got a busy day today. He's got doubles later on as well with Shapovalov. And this is where I think, to be honest, if Shapovalov wins this point, it'll probably help Sock out. Maybe carry that positive attitude into his singles match. Oh, well, it was close to being long, but Thiem finds the baseline. And it's 11-all.
Well, he found the good slice serve. It wasn't a bad return. I don't think Shapovalov could have done much more with his return. And that's certainly a .1.
This match about as epic as you can get it. An hour and 45 minutes on the clock. Nearly 15 minutes this match tiebreak. Second match point for Dominic Thiem.
12-11. Team Europe.
Sag, sie sollen zurückgehen da. Sie sollen zurückgehen.
Don't speak the language being used, but a nod of approval from Thiem. And there it is. It's Europe who steal the first point of the Laver Cup. Dominic Thiem saving 3 match points and is able to somehow battle past Denis Shapovalov. It was a nail-biter. At times it wasn't the best tennis, but it was full of drama. And it is 1-0 that Team Europe lead as Dominic Thiem seals the first point.
Yes, and if you think it's something of an exhibition match, just think again. I'm sure you can tell by